God, in the name of Jesus, we come before you right now with thanksgiving in our hearts, thanking you, Master, for this opportunity that we may have to come together, to join together, oh God, that we may be able to search our hearts, God, and that when we leave from this place, Master, we'll be more determined, and we will know without a shadow of a doubt that our husbands' hearts can safely trust us. And Master, we come knowing that it's not about us, but it's all about you. So Master, our aim is to please you, Master, to be the godly woman that you are calling us to be. So we thank you for this awesome privilege that you've given us on today. In the mighty, powerful name of Jesus. And all the women of God said, amen, amen, amen. Now, I have not always been a favorite of Proverbs 31. I bought a book of Proverbs 31, and I was going to teach it in my women's Bible study. But when I started reading it, I thought, oh no, this ain't me. This is not me. This is. But and I put the book at the bottom of the shelf, on the bookshelf, and I thought, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that because I'm not that woman. And that was years ago. And I picked up Proverbs 31 time and time again. But this time, when Sister Black called me and gave me the topic, and I began to read it, and I'm thinking, okay, God, this is not an option. This is not an option. And I do know without a shadow of a doubt that I am a godly woman. And that I know without a shadow of a doubt that I love God. And that it's my desire that you do the things that's pleasing in your eyesight, that it's not about me, that it's all about you. And so some of the things, it has to be a sacrifice, service, and in all that it is that I be pleasing to God. And in studying this, it did not say whether our husband was doing right. It didn't say that. It's telling us what he's calling us to be. And if we be where God is calling us to be, he's going to take care of man. He will take care of the husband. If we walk in obedience to what God is calling us to be, God is going to take care of things. How many, let's see, I've been married 44 years. Anybody longer than 44 years been married in a marriage? I have 44 years. Bless. 27 years.
I'm a newlywed.
Okay, you're a newlywed.
2 years.
Okay, 2 years. Okay.
21 months.
21 months? Okay. 21 months. How many? 37 years. Okay. I have 44 years. And in my 44 years, I thank God that I can say that it has been a good relationship. Not saying that we don't disagree, but in our 44 years, we have never ever gone to bed without saying, I love you, good night, and giving each other a kiss. I pat myself on the back. My mom always said, if anything happened to you in your marriage, it's going to be my fault. It was going to be my fault because I'm stubborn. I like things going my way. But getting to this topic, the heart, Proverbs 31, 11, and 12. The heart of her husband trusts in her. The heart, the very core, the very inner being. And we know that our physical heart, the heart is what keeps us going. It keeps us going. So the heart of her husband trusts in her. And he will have no lack of gain. That's saying a lot, isn't it? That's saying a lot. So that's a question that each one of us will have to ask ourselves. Can my husband, not nobody else is there, but can my husband trust in me, that he knows without a shadow of a doubt that I have his back? Even when sometimes he makes me mad as hell. I'm just gonna be real. I want to go upside his head. My husband think he knows everything. Anybody married somebody like that? He thinks he knows everything. And sometimes I know he's not right, but I have to have his back. My husband pastors, and we've been in ministry for 39 years. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in the church, and the ladies were talking about my husband. All them just going on and on. And I said, when I get out of here, I'm going to tell them a piece of my mind. I'm going to let them know that that's my husband. Even though what he was saying wasn't too cool, but they didn't have no right to be talking about it. They didn't have no right to be talking about it. And I thought, okay, God, he bridled my tongue that I could not tell them what I wanted to tell them. And I thought, okay, I can't talk about him to them. But when I get him in the car, I'm going to tell him, you know you're wrong. You know you're wrong. And so now, does your husband, even though sometimes you know that he's off in left field, but can he trust you enough that you would not show him up in public? Can he trust you? Can he trust you? It is important for us to realize, talking about becoming a Proverbs 31 woman, is not the lie that has been sold for many years that we need to strive to be excellent in all things about this homemaking stuff. You know, talking about how to keep the home and what to do. I'm not home. I'm not homemaking. I'm not homemaking. My husband loves to cook. He loves. Hallelujah. He loves to cook. So I could check that. Okay, God, well, I don't have to do that. He loves to cook. So cleaning the house. He said, well, if anybody come here and they don't like what's down on the floor, then they leave. Hey, I totally agree with you on that. You know, and so it's some things that's in Proverbs 31, 10 through 31, that it don't fit all of us. But there are some things that all of us are held accountable, so that we can know without a shadow of a doubt that my husband's heart, not his mind, not just his, but his heart, his inner being knows that he can trust you. Now in Proverbs, in studying this, a lot of it was talking about finances. I'm the world's worst at finances. I don't know about anybody else. I'm the world's worst in finances. You too. Me too. I can. I can. You can be. Because I've always had in my mind, and studying this, I'm thinking, okay, God, are you serious? I mean, you mean to tell me I got to think about when I'm going to buy some blue shoes to go in my blue suit? when I need to be putting $25 in the savings account because we want to go on a cruise. And you mean to tell me I got to think twice about buying those blue shoes? God, are you serious? And that's just the way I am. I see it, I want it. I get it. My husband is tight as a rubber band. He's always talking about saving for the future. My husband looks out for me. He looks out for the family. I thank God for the godly man that he is. But we're not talking about the man. We're talking about us. Some of the things that in studying, so that we will know. Sister Black, can you pass these out? I found a little something that can kind of get us in line with, I hope I have enough, that get us in line with what God is talking about. Can our husband's heart trust us? So I'm going to try to stay with this paper. There's a lot of good stuff on this paper. The first thing in order that you would ask yourself, can my husband heart faithfully trust me? Am I trustworthy? And we have to look at this, and we're talking about godly women. And we know that we can trust God. No matter what, we can trust God. I know that God will not fail me. And so we have to learn how to look at ourselves and place ourselves in being the type of woman that God is calling us to be for our husbands. I was reading, it says that the woman is like a cornerstone. And we know what a cornerstone is, the foundation that holds a building together. So we are to be the cornerstone for our husband to help hold him together. A lot of times we don't like it, we don't want to do it, but if we sit back and trust him enough, that I trust him that he's seeking from God, as he seeks from God for the direction for the family, that I'm going to be better off. So if I know that, not know if, whether I see it or not, I got to trust it. And I have to go back to that if. And I learned one of the things that says to follow instructions. Yesterday, I had to put this into action. He told me could you go get me a cup of coffee? Why don't I need to go get you a cup of coffee? Oh, I forgot. If he tells me to go get him a cup of coffee, go get him a cup of coffee. If he tells you will you pick my clothes up out of the cleaners and go to the bank, cut the paper, we don't need to get the paper anymore, we need to save that money. I want to read the paper. I need the paper. I need to cut the coupons out of the paper. Follow the instructions of your husband. That's what it says. Am I right? Even though he's going down the wrong street, you sit there. Don't say nothing. Let him find out for himself. What you say? Yeah, right. Ladies, I had to learn this is not an option. This is not. If we want our husbands, if we want to be blessed, and that there would be no lack of gain, we are our husband's gain. As godly women, we are our husband's gain. If we walk in obedience to what God is calling us as women of God, it's kind of hard, huh, sister? It's a lot hard. It does not say whether he's walking the path, whether he had, when we married, that it said, leave mom and dad and cleave to them. Even if he's not cleaving to you, even if he's not giving you the respect that you think you deserve, the Word of God says for us to respect our husbands. The Word of God tells us to be that rest for our husbands when they're gone out a hard day's job, that he can do a better job at work, when he has a peace of mind that know that I can trust the woman that I made a vow to, the woman that's the mother of my children, that's handling the finances. I don't have to worry about whether she's going to misappropriate the finances that I bring into the house. I don't have to worry about. And I know that we all, most of us in here work. Well, I've retired now, but I work. I said, I work just like he do. I can spend, this is my money. I can spend my money like I want to spend my money. It's my business.
Yeah.
That's not godly. That's not godly. Sisters, we shaking our heads, but if we want to be blessed, as we are blessed, because we are being blessed, because we are walking obedience unto what God is telling us as women of God, as godly women that loves God, and that my aim is to please God, to do those things that's pleasing unto God, then we have got to live the life that we can know without a shadow of a doubt that my husband's heart can trust me, that when we get out in public, I'm not gonna show up his weaknesses. I'm not going to get on the telephone and call mama and talk about what my husband did not do, what he's not doing, and talk about it to my friend, his shortcomings to my friend. I'm not going to do that. When we go to, as in first ladies in first ladies, even though sometime when we leave home, we're in disagreement, but when you get to church, the first person they're going to look at is you. They're going to look at, you can be in disagreement or whatever, you still got to keep that smile. Keep that smile on. Got to keep that smile on. My husband's heart will trust me that when I get get before the congregation, you're not going to show me up. That I'm not all that in a bag of chips before the people that God has. I tell my husband all the time, I will not show you up in public. I will not tell your shortcomings. But when we get home, I am to be your helpmeet. We are to be, not the leader, not the nagger, but God has given us as a helpmeet that when we get home, that we can call him in and say, babe, and that's the way you say stuff. Now don't go in with all that, shaking the head thing, and all that stuff. Now if you like my husband, you gotta pick the right time to tell him when he's wrong. Because if you don't pick the right time, it's on. He's not listening. He's turned a deaf ear. Now, but he will come back and say, babe, you were right. Babe, I thank you. I thank you for, sharing that with me. I'm his eyes. I'm his ear. In congregations, I'm sitting and I'm looking. And I'm getting the feel of the people. We can get the feel of people, for our husbands. So we can be the helpmeet that our husbands need to clue them in when things just ain't going just right. But can my husband's heart trust? Let me read this to you. Sister Black, I got a whole lot of good stuff here. We learn in Proverbs 31:11 and 12 just how our husbands feel about us. We see that his heart trusts us. It is one thing to say that we think we can trust someone, but quite another to say that our heart trusts us. His heart trusts me. And when you break somebody's trust, down to the core, it's hard to get that trust back. So we got to make sure that our husband's heart can safely know that he can depend on you. This is saying that the very core of my being, I know that I can trust this person. Trusting with my heart means that I know they are reliable. Does your husband know that you're reliable? Does your husband know that you are reliable? Does he have confidence in you? Does he feel safe physically and emotionally with you? Just kind of, can my husband's heart safely trust me? To say that the heart of my husband trusts in me is to say that at the very center and base of my husband's inner core, he knows that he have a reliance on me to support and to be there for him no matter what. In the good, in the bad, in the ups and the downs, he knows that I'm there for him. Even more importantly, the husband knows that my heart belongs to the Lord. When he knows that your heart belongs to God, he knows that you're not going to bring any harm to him, because there's nothing that you would do to bring harm to God, because my aim is to please God. He can absolutely trust me to do good and to seek the very best for all the family. He will have no lack of gain because I have the heart of God. I have the heart of God. And the heart of God is being about people. Lord, let my heart hurt where yours hurt. I have God's interest. And the gain here is not just riches. It's not always about money and things, but it's about that emotional thing. It's about that spirit thing. There are blessings and benefits that the spirit of a home gives to a husband that cannot be matched by any amount of money. When he goes to work and when he comes home, he can come home with assurance and knowing that I'm not going to hear her nagging. I'm not going to hear her complaining what I don't have, want to compare with what the Joneses have. We learn to live within the means that my husband can provide for me. And I'm not going to make him feel belittled because he can't provide for me what the Joneses have, because we don't know how the Joneses are getting what they get. And sometimes we can make our husbands feel bad because we want to compare our life with what the Joneses have, and we nag and we nag until, they give in to us and go get stuff, and then they got to work 2 or 3 jobs, and then you working because he's not at home. You want him to go home. You want him to be home to pray with you, and because he's not at home to pray with you because he's working 2 or 3 jobs to provide the things that you need, because you're making him feel bad because he's not able to provide. So can your husband's heart trust that when he comes home, you're going to be happy with the things that he can provide? First of all, because my heart loves God. And I know God always has my best interest in mind. And we say that the husband is supposed to love the wife as Christ loved the church. Now, if you go and marry somebody and you think you're going to be able to change them, then you have a problem. You know how some of us, we go marry somebody and you're unequally yoked. They don't think nothing about God, but you think, because you're a godly woman that you're going to be able to change them, then you might have a problem. You might have a problem. Because first of all, he don't love God. He don't know nothing about God. So he's all for sale. So let's make sure we're getting some godly men. Some godly men that have some godly characteristics. Can your husband heart safely trust you? Can your husband's heart? Can your husband's heart safely trust you? Anybody want to answer that? Can your husband's heart safely trust you?
Yes, very much.
That's a good thing.
Because I'm rooted in the Word of God. I try to reflect what I live and what I hear in Bible study, church, and live it in front of him, in our 4 walls.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
All right.
I just want to make, this is kind of a question comment. When you're following your husband, and even though we've been together for so many years, sometimes, when I'm following my husband, and I know that's what the word says, sometimes I kind of feel like a puppet, And so what I want to say is, just like you made the example of, getting the newspaper, and say, okay, we're not going to get the newspaper and work with our budget. But then, you may feel like, okay, the coupons that I get outweigh the cost of the paper.
Yes.
So to mention that, at least mention that to him, I don't know if that, is considered, following what the scripture is saying, or what have you,
Okay, in that, say if he sees, the paper is an expense. But when you show him, well, look at all these coupons. This is what I'm cutting on Sunday's paper. If we don't take nothing but the Sunday's paper. On Sunday's paper, the paper is filled with coupons. So I got all this stuff with cutting coupons. So maybe we can cut out the everyday paper, but just take the Sunday's paper.
mention it to him.
Mention it to him. Mention it to him that this is what look what I saved. So that's not going against him. That's not going against what he says. And then God gives us a mind.
Right.
God gives us a mind. But I think it's the way we can say things to build our husbands up, that they know that you're not trying to belittle them. That when you're trying to help them, in moving forward in life, I think men will accept it. But in the word it says, follow instructions. Follow their instructions. Not being a robot, not saying that we got to be slaves. Not saying that. And even I have a couple that goes to my church, and her husband, and he's a pastor, does not respect her at all. What he says goes. And she, whatever he says, you can't talk to her 5 minutes before she said, well, so-and-so said this. Girl, do you have a mind of your own? And I had to go ask God for forgiveness for saying that to her, because when I got to reading all of this stuff, she was really walking in what the Word of God says.
Was she walking in, or was she being controlled?
No. There is a difference.
Yes.
There is a difference in a man having a controlling spirit. A controlling spirit is not of God. Having a controlling spirit is not of God. A controlling spirit that comes into domestic violence, verbal abuse. Not saying that we as women, even though my husband's heart could, but I'm not living with a controlling spirit. If you are a woman of God, God will show you. You pray, and God will show you to distinguish between a controlling spirit, where they have to control. You got to do whatever if it's not their way, it's no way at all. That's a controlling spirit.
What if it's a controlling spirit, but not to the point where it gets domestic or anything, but it's just a point where it's not where it's their way or the highway, but it's like they have to have control over the situation, regardless of what the outcome may be. It has to be. If it's not that particular way, it's not the right way, but it's not to the point where it gets to the point where it seems like it's either my way or no way, but it's still like it has to be their way.
There's still a controlling. It could be emotional, verbal control. I work with domestic violence and women's crisis center. And it has to be their way or no way at all. There's no reasoning about the situation. It's their way, or I'm not talking to you. Right. I'm not saying anything to you until I can manipulate you to come into my. That's not God. That's not a godly thing.
I think that's a part of brokenness that man has.
A part of
brokenness. There's something inside him that's broken that makes him feel as though he has to control everything. And so when we're talking just from before, he has to own that at some point, and you have to help him in that in some way. So that brokenness is his insecurity. He feels like he's got to have control over a situation, in every situation, because he's broken. And maybe when he was a child, he never was able to do what he needed to do. Maybe as a child, he was beat upon and broken down. And so now he has a wife, and he feels like this is my way of showing my authority. And so, but he's doing it in the wrong way. And so as a wife, how can we help him to become different? Help him through love, not through being disobedient, but help him through love in a way that helps him to maybe mellow that out. Because we have a whole lot of power as wives to be able to change by our own spirit, and by interceding for him and helping him to see that's helping the Lord to see, Lord, please help me with this situation, because Lord, I'm unhappy in this, and I know he's not living by your word. So help me.
And Sister Black, his father probably modeled that.
Exactly.
And it just went on down to him. That's how my dad did my mama. She listened to her. I did my wives.
And a lot of men, now like I said, this couple and the husband pastors a church. Yeah. But from a little kid, he was control. He had to have control in the house. He had to carry all the keys of his mom and dad in the house. He just always had to be in charge of everything, and that spirit has just grown up in him. And so my thing now to her is that we're going to pray him through this, and we have to be patient enough to allow God to intervene. But first of all, he's got to realize he's got to own up to his shortcomings. He's got to own up to this fact, and if they never own up to it, then they can never get the help that he needs. But I know prayer can change God. We can't change him, but God can.
I'm in that situation. My husband is a pastor. We've been separated almost 2 years. He's a controller. And it had to be this way. I went to church every Sunday with a smile on my face. I would never let anybody know. I didn't come to church with my mouth poked out. I know you ain't standing up here preaching about that. Because I know you don't even do that. That ain't even, I never did it. And because I did it, when people found out that we were separated, they were just amazed, because there was a facade that was played out. I didn't want. God doesn't like divorce, and I prayed and I cried and I cried and I prayed and I prayed that God would do a work in him to make him more like God. I didn't ask him to make him what I wanted him to be. But it looked like the situation, it got worse. It didn't get better. It got worse. And I was always there with him. Every revival, everything. I heard sermons 100 times. But I got no support. No support. He thought paying the bills at the house, that was all they needed to do. He stayed. The church was his first. I don't know where I came in at. I am not even gonna say second.
Are y'all together now?
No. And he will not. He has not reached out to me. He has not called me. I called him. He's not returned the call. And he went and filed for divorce.
Okay, he did. You continue to pray for him.
Yes.
You continue to pray for him because God is not through with that situation.
No,
Well,
With
it's
that.
taken, he filed in April. And we still married.
Uh-huh.
Now my flesh says, can we get this over with?
What you say?
But it's, in my heart, I believe that God is saying, not yet.
Not yet.
But if you love him, maybe there was embarrassment.
I can't hear you.
You may feel
She's talking.
You know, given that, pastor, that may play a part in it, so he may be angry.
He is angry.
And
I'm angry.
But we deal with stuff all the time. I know, I feel you. And I'm not saying like I know. I'm thinking from what you're thinking from a standpoint of how I put my own husband in this situation. Because there has been times where I was really upset and didn't know what I was going to make it. Okay? But I can remember to this day, I got up one morning, I was praying, it happened last month, on the 15th. I was really mad, and I'm like, I don't care. Because I was going to make your mind that you don't leave because you're going to be wondering. So don't leave. I don't know. I told my mentor, she was like, well, that was God's thing. He said he's mine, and I love him because he's gonna wonder if you leave him sometime. Because I know if I was to leave that wouldn't make him better. To leave him would make him better because he'd be angry and he'd feel abandoned and left, and so that would make him change. That's what I understand about him. So now, at least I feel blessed because I feel like I'm past that part where I'm always like, should I stay? Because I was new in my marriage and I got married older. So it's scary to me because I used to do that. I was single and had my own, and so now I got this person telling me what to do to them, and I'm like, I know how to do some stuff. I got it on my mind and I feel undermined. And so I get mad. I do.
I don't think anyone here knows the answer to your situation. I think only God knows. And I think He will reveal Himself to you, just like He's working on your husband. As a pastor, at some point, just like the minister was saying, he's going to face that conviction. And I don't know if that means that's going to bring you back together. It may not.
You stay.
But you have to understand that. But God's word is true.
It is true.
And He is faithful.
He is.
So regardless of whether you come back together or you don't, you're going to be taken care of.
She's going to be fine.
You just follow the word. You've done what you're supposed to do. You can always be responsible for yourself.
Yes.
We can all sit here and pray and intercede and all that. That God bring you back together. That may not be.
You stayed in that word.
He knows. You don't beat yourself up about anything. You shouldn't feel guilty about anything.
Anything.
You live your life. You're a beautiful woman. You live your life and you ask God to guide you.
That's right.
Whatever that this is going to lead you and Him to.
Proverbs
And you
31
stay
and
strong
12.
in His word.
You're gonna do him good.
Yeah.
You're not bad mouthing him.
That's right.
You're not bashing him. You're not trying to, show him up. It says that you do him good, no harm, all the days of your life. So the accountability is on you.
That's right.
The accountability is on you until God works out the situation.
However he do it.
However God do it, you remain faithful
That's right.
to Him.
That's right.
You remain faithful
That's
to
right.
Him.
That's right.
And God is going to do the rest. He knows within His heart that He can trust
He
you.
can trust you.
You have can your husband's heart safely trust you?
Yes.
He knows that he can safely trust you.
Yeah.
That even when you all were together, when you came to church, you did not show him up. You would do him good. He liked no game. Even in the ministry, you were still being blessed. You were still being, so God is giving you a peace of mind to know that God, I'm going to wait on you to fix this situation. I'll wait.
Sister Laverne, another thing, you need to be careful. Don't let too many people in your ear.
Yes.
Don't let too many
Yes.
people. What I do, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, we good on girl. I'll do this. Good, I do that. No,
Yes.
no.
It's
Don't
between
let
you and God.
Stay with
You
the
just have to stay still.
Find you somebody that you can trust. Another godly woman.
Walk in dignity.
That's right.
Walk in dignity.
In dignity.
Do not allow anybody to make him say things that are against him, because God is the ultimate judge.
He's the ultimate.
He's the one who's going to deal with him.
That's right.
And so what you have to do is just walk in your walk with God. Live in dignity. We are all daughters of the King.
The most
We all have the royalty in our blood, and we need to walk that way. And any woman who doesn't, that's on them.
It's on
We have
them.
our Father.
And
Daddy will
on
come help
them.
you.
And we think, God, are you serious? We got to do this. But that's what He's calling us to be, because we know how Christ is. And we know that the Bible is in a female agenda, so He holds us in high esteem.
He does.
He holds us in high esteem. High esteem. So, like I said, you're a beautiful woman. And He might not ever, go ahead, sister.
Okay, so my situation, you just mentioned about the unequally yoked. So I'm a newlywed, and my husband and I, before we were married, you know, we had our issues. And as we were getting closer to getting married, you know, because we were engaged for almost 2 years. And as we got closer to getting married, we started really going towards my husband was coming the same direction. And, you know, we were going the right way. And we got married, and about 2 weeks later, we went right back. For the whole first year of my marriage, I dealt with infidelity. And it's difficult, you know, you say, you know, you want to try to keep it in the house, but the mistress exposed it to my family, my church. Like, there's not too many people that don't know. So I have a lot of resentment. My husband and I are separated. We lost our apartment. We had a series of things that happened. And I'm living with my mother. He's living with the mistress. And I look at this and I'm like, I don't have a quiet spirit. When my husband drinks, you know, when he's sober and we're fine. When he's drinking, it's like a whole other beast. And it's hard, you know, to like that controlling spirit. So it's like, you know, I can kind of try to tell myself, okay, disregard it, pray, leave, do this, and it doesn't work. So right now, I kind of believe the separation is necessary. I don't agree with where he is. But my question is, if we're constantly dealing with, if we are unequally yoked, and I'm praying for God to heal that marriage, if we're not equally yoked, is that God not going to, because is that not a godly union? So are my prayers kind of in vain because I'm asking God to, like I've been disobedient by being married to someone that's not equally yoked? So is God just allowing this stuff to happen because He's separating me from this man?
Pray for his salvation. Begin to pray and ask God, you know, that he come into the knowledge of who He is. And once he comes into the knowledge of who God is, then God can bring back that union of marriage.
Can I say this here also? We have to remember, I'm talking really word, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. These are actual spirits to tear up the home, the marriage. I have seen God saved both my husbands. One is deceased. But before he died, after 12 years of marriage, I can truly say God used me to get him converted. Because he was the chairman of the deacon board. But you living like this, like you said, you want me to say all this while you're on the floor. But if you stay prayerful and speak the word of God, keep it in your ear. He said meditate on it both day and night. We walk by faith, not by sight. I can't help how it looks. Yes. You remember you're fighting an enemy, and it's the devil himself that wants to destroy our marriages, our homes, our lives. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. You stay with the word, girl. I'm telling you, stand on that word. The one I got now, I seen God convert infidelity right in my face. You know what I'm saying? I seen God change it because I stayed with his, but I had to learn how to. I'm all out 2, 3 o'clock in the morning looking for you, peeping out the window. You know, once I got in that word, and that word got into me, and I let it dwell in me richly, baby, God can do anything.
You continue to live with God at night. Don't bash him about where he is, about the mystery. Don't wash his face, because he already knows what he's doing. You just continue to lift him. He's still your husband, and just always praise him, always speak good about him. Even though when you know something, keep him lifted, always keep him lifted. Let him know you're praying for him. Just continue to speak good about him, and God will work it. If it's for you, God will work it. He will work it. I've seen him do it.
He can say that. Stay in there.